Welcome back for this final hour of Hereticus, and let's see what's going on in the chapel. So Akalon, you've placed your belongings, your gear back in your quarters, and left for the chapel for a, as I recall it, 3-day vigil.
Yes.
Okay.
3-day vigil of prayer, broken only. Well, yeah, so fasting and almost unbroken prayer, save for the occasional, where he will take what very little nourishment he will absolutely require.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, so so you begin your vigil, you begin your prayer, and well, you're in a chapel dedicated to the Holy Emperor. So all is well. You feel at ease, or somewhat at ease. You feel that your troubles, at least for now, are lifted, and you can rest here in the chapel. And unfortunately, that moment doesn't last for long, because it may have been an hour into your vigil when suddenly, in a flash, you find yourself no longer in the chapel. You find yourself flying over a vast body of bile and pus.
Ooh.
And suddenly you stop, and you float in midair. And you see a light appear down in the depths of this sea of ink. And this light grows stronger, as if something is approaching the surface. And then something appears upon the surface of this sea of bile and pus, and it is a skeleton clad in black armor. And the skeleton, or the skeletal being, because it does have the skin is pulled tightly over its bones, and its eyes are closed, and it just rests there in the liquid. And then it opens its eyes, and they shine a crimson red as it gazes directly at you. And then you find yourself back in the chapel.
Much creepiness. Such ick.
Yes, I was about to say. Considering that we've been talking and showing images to each other of the Legion of the Damned, that would be really nice. But I know for a fact that this isn't going to be them.
No.
I wish it was.
No.
Let's just say that Akalon doubles down on his prayers, and even is even brazen enough to actually raise his voice a little bit.
Okay.
just to emphasise, not too much, because other people might want to pray, but just enough that it's a little more emphatic.
Okay.
Again, and he very specifically.
It's him saying, "Go away, go away, go away, go away."
Yes, he specifically emphasizes the same quote, the same prayer actually that I used, or that he used after the first vision he had back on Piety of Seth, saying, "Those who follow false gods and work to deceive others, there is but one truth. All things are known to our Emperor, and he shall judge their lies."
Okay.
And he means this both to whoever's showing him the visions and to himself, because he wants to be sure what he's seeing is truth, or if it's a lie, then that shall be known soon enough as well.
Okay. Well, the rest of the vigil remains undisturbed. He prays, and he eats when he absolutely have to, and so on. And so the 3 days end, and I don't imagine he's. I think the incident, the vision may have left its mark on him, not in a literal sense, but he does feel, his soul does feel at ease after those 3 days of constant prayer and meditation.
That's good.
And he leaves the chapel rested and, like I said, at ease.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah. So, well, that of course that also means that 3 days pass for the others as well. And on that third day, Trina appears. Let's say she goes to Sister Francesca, because Sister Francesca is, as we know, the de facto leader of this cell of acolytes. So she goes to her.
All right.
And she, I don't know, is Francesca, what's she doing? Is she in her chamber, or where can she be found?
Quite probably, we're on the third day, she would quite probably be demolishing an extensive number of targets in the shooting range. Even more so if she has at this point actually gotten access to her to the flamer, because in that case she's going to be burning some things pretty much to a crisp.
Okay, well, she hasn't quite yet.
Okay.
The flamer hasn't been delivered yet. It will soon enough. The process has started, but it hasn't arrived yet. Okay, so she's basically training, which seems to be a recurring theme here in
yes.
when you have your downtime, and it makes sense. Well, she enters the training area and walks up to Sister Francesca. She waits silently for Sister Francesca to finish her exercise.
She stops when she realizes there's somebody else there. She stops, turns around.
By all means, don't stop on my account.
She fires off one more round in that case. Just the one.
I would like you to gather your fellow acolytes. Let's say in the conference room, and I shall have a small talk with you.
Absolutely, I will go and do so forthwith.
Excellent.
And so Francesca does
okay.
Just that.
Okay, cool. So you all gather in the conference room, or one of them. There are a few conference rooms in your chambers. Okay. And I assume the rest of you follow, and also go to the conference room. By the way, Acalon, do you mention the? By this time, you have been out of the chapel for a few hours. Have you sought out any of the others, or have you kept to yourself?
I will probably have, as a matter of duty, considering that I will probably have gone to inform Sister Francesca, of the results of the vigil.
Okay.
Yes.
So Sister Francesca knows all about the vision and
yes, of the skeleton now having got some flesh, has got some glowing eyes, and apparently it enjoys its pus baths.
Yes. Okay. Well, when you do arrive in the conference chamber, Trina is there, of course, sitting patiently waiting for you all to arrive. And when you've all sat down and are ready to hear what she has to say, she looks at you and says, "I have received a report that you have made some inquiries."
Indeed.
Regarding some, as the report states, near heretical preachings
Mm-hmm.
in the mid-hive. I would like, or rather, not I, our Inquisitor has requested that you look into that, to investigate further.
Absolutely.
This may tie into something else that is currently going on here in Hive Sabellus. For now, though, our Inquisitor has explicitly stated that you are not. It is need to know, and you do not need to know at this point.
No.
But she has requested that you look into the matter and that you report your findings.
Very well. I have an initial observation to make in that case. Seeing as I am unaware of exactly who has sent the report that we have made this inquiry, I feel it needs to be said that the cathedral, and unless you have a problem with it, I'm just going to come up with a name here.
Sure, works.
But I believe, she says, I believe it was the cathedral of the winged martyr, and when we went there, I was, since I was the one talking to them, I spoke first to an ordained cleric and later to the resident bishop. And they informed me that they were aware of the existence of these preachers in the streets, and that they had previously attempted to have them removed by the local law enforcement, not the, they specifically said that it was not the Adeptus Arbites, but the local law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And that they had returned, and I asked if they were the same people who had returned or if they had been summarily executed. And the bishop looked slightly disconcerted at the idea that any of them should have been executed at all. Which, in the aftermath, I have done quite a bit of thinking about. It felt slightly odd that in a situation where people preaching counter-doctrinal faith on the streets are taken into custody and then simply let go.
I agree. That does sound...
Especially if a person involved in this is a bishop.
Yes.
However, I merely felt that it was necessary to make this observation before we even start.
Well, Bishop Lazar, as he's named, has long been what I think they call a pillar of the community. He has done much for the workers of the mid-hive, and this is the first time I've heard anything that even looks suspicious about the man. This is not to say that you shouldn't look into the matter and into the person and into whatever he might be up to.
Of course, but we should be discreet about it, I think.
You should be discreet. I have you already declared your affiliation with the Inquisition?
He knows, yes. He knows. I wore I wore my chapelet when I went in there, and the eye hangs from it, so he knows.
Okay.
It should probably also be said that even a pillar of the community can be corrupted.
Yes.
I think here, obviously, of the most outrageous example, namely Sebastian Thor. So, but we will be careful when asking around.
Good.
I'm pretty sure, she says, and looks at some of the others with a crooked smile, and particularly at Medea. I am pretty sure that there are other people here who are better at being discreet than I am.
Medea looks very, very, very innocent.
Yes, you do stick out.
I do. Even if I'm not, even if I don't wear the armor, I still stick out.
Yes. Indeed. Well, those are your objectives. Find out what's going on in the mid-hive with these, as the report says, near heretical preachers, and and if anything sinister is going on in the Cathedral of the Winged Martyr. In this case, a report on your findings will suffice, and I will bring it to our Inquisitor.
Indeed. Thank you.
Excellent. So she stands up and without another word, she just leaves the room.
Francesca actually, raises both eyebrows and just, once she's out of the room, this whoa, okay, running hand through hair, looking a little bit, okay, I did not see that coming, sort of.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm surprised, that's all.
Why?
Because, well, firstly, because somebody has to have let this report go back here. So either the people at the courthouse, the what are they called? The Adeptus Arbitres have done so, but I don't believe those would be the ones, because they wouldn't actually have necessarily known that we went and talked to people at that cathedral afterwards. I mentioned that we would, but they wouldn't have had any actual evidence of it, with their own eyes. So the best bet is that somebody at the cathedral reported back here, and that could be, well, it could be anyone. Most likely, it's it's the priest that I spoke to, or it's the bishop himself. And that does not exonerate any of them. They might have made this report back here to deflect suspicion away from themselves. So I'm just going to keep an open. I'm going to keep an open set of possibilities here for who could be behind this.
Okay. Yeah. So what's the plan then?
Well, the plan. That's a good question. The plan needs to be made first and foremost.
Yep.
What the plan? Well, I don't know.
Plan is obviously that we have to go back down there. We have to go back to that area, and I'm a lightning rod. So no matter what I do there, even if I wear the robes instead of the armor, I will still stick out. I will still be identifiable as what I am. There is no chance whatsoever that any of these people will talk to me. It won't happen, for good reason. Which means that in this particular case, information gathering is going to have to be done by the rest of you. And I think the persons most suited to that are, well, Medea, obviously, you are, even if you're not a middle hiver, you are still a hive city dweller. And you, Tim, because you have at least lived in places where people were fairly closely confined.
That's true.
It's relatable, even if it's not identical.
I have been trained in at least hiding in secure positions.
Then in that case, that should come in handy if you can find a place where you can hear what some of these people have to say. Listen in, see if you can eavesdrop on their conversations. That would be very, very useful. I think you and Medea are quite probably going to be a good team at this, and I think you should be the ones figuring out between you how you will go about that. As I said, I'm pretty much a lightning rod, but that could be used. We can use that.
Draw attention elsewhere?
Precisely, and possibly unnerve them. Because if they are used to having the usual set of more or less indifferent clergymen running around from the Cathedral of the Winged Martyr, who don't really seem to care much, because these people were literally standing on every street corner and nobody was accosting them until I walked up to one of them. So having me walk around down there in full view might unnerve them, and that could get them talking.
Tim nods. It makes sense, definitely.
Medea, you don't sound too convinced.
Well, it will make it easier to spot them.
Yes. And obviously, what I'm suggesting here is that when we go back down there, the two of you, she says and looks at Tim and Medea, the two of you will not actually be walking with me. Because that might not be... It would be a little suspicious, I think.
I think it would be ideal if I had a change of clothing then as well to better fit in.
Very good idea, yes.
Medea looks at herself. Maybe me too. I don't really look like a middle hiver. But maybe that doesn't actually matter.
I think we should probably try to find something that looks more like the work clothes they wear in that general area. You should still keep your inquisitorial eyes on you, but don't leave them visible. Only keep them there in case you are accosted by law enforcement, wondering what are you doing here or something like that. So, don't let it hang from your belt like I do with mine.
So I know this is a stupid question to ask right now, but what exactly are we to find out with these people?
We are to find out, well, as much as we can. But
about
first,
what?
About they are preaching things that are not in keeping with the true faith. And
I want to know where they are.
Yes, and I want to know if this is something that is organized, if they are centrally controlled, if there's somebody who is basically telling these people to go out there and spread these false beliefs to all the people in this particular sector. And in fact, that makes me think of something, Heine. Mm-hmm. Is it possible to pull up some kind of schematic over what is produced in the manufactura in that area?
Yes, you would be able to retrieve that information, yes.
Yes, because it might be that they are trying to sabotage, let's just say that in that particular area they are creating packs, what's it called, power packs, mm-hmm. charge packs for last weapons, just to take any example. Mm-hmm. Now, how many charge packs could come out of such a manufactorum in one standard year? Millions. Mm-hmm. could come out. Let's say that even 10% of those are somehow defective. That is a lot of guardsmen standing on the front lines of wars around the sector and around the Imperium in general, suddenly unable to fire their guns at the enemies of the Emperor. That is a disaster. If they are let's say that they are manufacturing foodstuffs, for example, also for the armies, or even for other parts of the Hive City. Let's say that they're making, food. They are producing canned food, and suddenly that food is it's spoiled. They ruin the food. It doesn't get to the people who need it. These people are suddenly going to go hungry. People who go hungry will riot. Before you know it, you have the Adeptus Arbitae standing on those battlements that we saw down there, trying to hold off 1 million or 2 very angry, very hungry people outside.
So basically, prevent them from destabilizing the entire hive.
Or at least a part of it, which can spread, yes.
Well, if they destabilize this area, that will make a...
It could have an impact, depending on what it is they produce in this area. It could have a very serious impact. But even if what they produce there are lace handkerchiefs for the upper classes of the hives around the Imperium, even if that is what they produce there, heresy simply cannot be allowed to exist. And we have to find out if this is part of a bigger scheme, or if it is simply an unfortunate series of isolated incidents. But somehow I don't think it is. Please go on.
Even if it is not intentional, it is still heretical to let these falsehoods pass. A moment of laxity spawns a lifetime
of heresy, exactly.
Well,
Ryan,
let's not that happen.
Absolutely correct. I think that is what we should do, and I think that. And she says, "I'm doing this mostly for the benefit of you, Medea, because you are so unfamiliar with the Imperial Creed. But I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what was actually said by some of these preachers, because you might hear the same thing. And then I'll explain what it is which is incorrect about this. And now I don't actually know what it is out of character. I don't know what it is they've been saying precisely. But Francesca goes on to spend a little time. She's not giving Medea a 3-hour sermon here because she'd fall asleep. But she does take a little time to explain the problem in what they are saying and what the ecclesiarchy actually preaches.
Okay, so basically Medea gets a crash course in the ecclesiarchy and things that are heretical through those preachings.
As does Tim. He knew some stuff, but...
Okay, so in-game Medea and Tim now have something to go on as they move into the out into the mid-hive to eavesdrop on these preachers, as is what I understand they will be doing.
Well, Medea's not as good as to eavesdrop as she is to inquire about shit, and she could look like someone who wanted to join.
However you do it is absolutely up to you.
At least that's what she's thinking.
Yeah.
She haven't actually aired that yet, but if they think they have a new recruit, they might even give her a place to go.
That is entirely possible.
Maybe.
It is possible that they would only, do that after you've sort of proven yourself, so to say. But
obviously.
Yes. But yes, it's It sounds like we have at least something resembling an idea here, and I think initially what we should do is go back down there in 2 groups. We shouldn't be seen going together, so we will go down there in 2 different groups to specific areas. We'll take a look at a map. We'll go there to a specific area, and Achelon and I will be the conspicuous ones that everyone notices, having him walk around with his Psychers staff and me walking around in full battle gear is certainly going to draw some attention from these people. And I'll make sure to walk close to many of them. I'll make sure to be as I'll say intimidating as I can look. And then you two will listen for any reaction from them, from people around you in general. There might be people in the crowd who have a reaction to this.
Quick question, though.
Yes.
This is not in character. When you eavesdrop, what is it you use? Is that awareness?
Yeah, I think it would be.
Yeah, perception.
Okay, then she's very good at it. Never mind what I said.
Yay! Me too. Also, I just remembered that Tim is somehow, despite being pale as shit, quite unremarkable. Minus 20 when trying to discern you in a crowd.
Oh,
that
nice.
is pretty cool.
That is so useful.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is. Okay. So.
It's because he's white as a ghost.
Yeah.
None of the others here have ever seen the sun either.
Nope. Okay, so the plan is for you to move down into the mid-hive and specifically the area you've been in before in 2 groups. Achelon and Sister Francesca being obvious and drawing some attention, and then Medea and Tim being all stealthy-like and ghostly and trying to see if they can suss out some real info.
Inconspicuous.
Inconspicuous, indeed. Okay.
Yosh.
Cool. Well,
They'll be, look at me, and we'll be, don't look at us.
Yes. Yeah. So as you reach the area of the mid-hive that you want to focus on, it's the same thing as it was 3 weeks earlier. This
3 weeks.
3 days.
3 days. Sorry.
It's fine.
This mass of grey moving to and from the manufactorums, tired, hungry, exhausted. Even those moving to the manufactorums. But you first of all, Sister Francesca and Achelon, you move in. What when you arrive there? What do you do? What's the plan? What's going to happen?
Well, firstly,
We
I'm
didn't
going
arrive
to-
together.
exactly.
Oh,
But,
no,
well,
no.
Achelon and Francesca arrived together.
Yep.
And I will be heading back to pretty much the same area we were in last time around. There's no reason there's no reason to not go back to the same place that we had luck with the last time around.
No, absolutely not.
And she will basically walk along through the crowds, and here's the thing: she is being who she is. Please correct me if I'm wrong here. I actually believe that she is perfectly entitled and allowed to be armed in public. I mean, as long as she's not actually shooting anyone, but the point is, she would be carrying a rather large firearm, a bolter.
Yep.
So while she's not trying to intimidate anyone outright, she would be walking close to any of these street preachers when she catches that any of them are preaching something foul. She will move. She will start moving towards them, not run, but she will look at them. She will catch their eye, and she will walk towards them and see how they react.
Okay. And how does what does Accolon do?
Accolon will be. I think Accolon will be doing something similar, whereby he won't be necessarily going up to people, but when he'll be sticking by Francesca most of the time in order to do something similar. He'll be glaring and clearly making it clear through bluffing that to the preachers who can see him that yes, he is in fact reading their mind, and yes, they are in fact betraying their every secret to him without having to say a word. And he may do something. He'll do this less frequently to the ones where Francesca isn't there simply because self-preservation. One of them may then decide to get frenzy on him or something.
Yeah, smart sacker.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
If you're going to go conspicuous and be a psycho, you've got to go all the way.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Okay, so cool. So you do that. You don't have to roll anything, either of you. The effect is clear and immediate. Sister Francesca, you soon find one of these preachers that skirt dangerously close to the heretical, and the moment he spots you, he leaves. He bolts.
He suddenly sees a driving and urgent need to be elsewhere.
Yes.
Anywhere else.
Yep.
So he quite literally bolts from the bolter.
And in other cases, it's Accolon's bluff that works best. The idea that he's reading their mind and letting them know that he's doing well. He isn't actually, but
but they
letting
don't
them know that he is. That scares them, and it also results in a similar flight effect that they bolt from the place, or they shut up and try to move into the crowd, and so it absolutely has an effect. The thing is, though, that one of these preachers, interestingly enough, is the same preacher that you met the other day.
Yeah.
The question then is, how do you handle him?
Well, for Accolon's part, he has been warned. He was warned, and he's clearly been sent out by his superiors anyway. Yes.
A recidivist. He has lapsed. He was given a chance at redemption, and he has. Well,
taken it. Yes.
Yes. Shame on him.
Shame on him,
yes.
indeed. The man notices you. That's not difficult. And you, both of you see this expression on his face. When he spots you, there's immediately after there's this panic, but it is soon replaced by, oh well, I'm going to die now. He's resigned to the fact that he won't live to see another sunrise, even if you can't really see a sunrise in this smog.
Good. Francesca walks up to him.
He slumps his shoulders and just looks at Francesca as she walks up to him.
Yes. She walks up to him, puts a hand on his shoulder again, and pulls him along.
He follows.
Yes.
So.
And she looks for. Usually there are these if there are any kind of open squares where great public ceremonies and such like take place.
Yes.
If there is such a place anywhere nearby.
Mm-hmm. There is.
Good.
Oh, we're going to make this a public execution.
Oh yes, we are.
Delightful.
Francesca pulls the man in that direction. Gets up on the podium. See, is there any kind of Vox system here that she can start up and use?
There is.
Yes.
There would be.
She does so.
Yeah.
She looks at everyone around, and she's unusually cold when she does this. And she's citizens of the Imperium.
They stop as they are addressed by an authoritarian voice.
Yes.
And
This man is a recidivist heretic. He was given a chance to redeem himself in the eyes of the God Emperor.
At this point, you can smell urine.
Yes. He chose to throw that opportunity at redemption back in the face of his savior. The God Emperor does not forgive such a crime.
Now he's outright crying. Tears are streaming down his face.
Consequently, you are all hereby witnesses to the fate of heretics, she says. Pushes the man down on his knees. Clips the safety off on her bolter, places it at the back of his head, and pulls the trigger.
Well, that's one dead heretic.
Let it be known.
Yeah.
Let it be known that the ecclesiarchy watches everyone for any sign of heresy. There will be no acceptance of such behavior. There will be no excuses made. You will follow Imperial doctrine.
So,
and then she switches it off.
Yeah, so for an area where there's this constant droning as thousands upon thousands of people move by, you can now hear a pin drop.
Yes.
And people are they're standing there looking at you and at the dead man lying at your feet.
Yes.
And then after a few moments they start moving again.
Yes. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because the point is the message has been sent.
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Yep. With a bolter-sized bullet.
Oh, with a bolter-sized bullet, indeed.
Yep.
She looks down herself and actually reaches down and wipes a bit of ew off her arm. Like, ugh.
How far did the blood spatter actually travel? Because I imagine that I just had this image that a spat of it went in Acklon's face and made him at least wince, if not actually flinch, because it would be unbecoming to flinch at this point. But
yeah, sure. Let's say that happened.
It just does that slow reach up and wipes it off his face, sort of thing. Like, really?
Yes. Well,
it's not as much of flinch of. Oh my God! It's more ew.
Yeah,
well,
that was a.
Well, you
was a moment of being a hard ass.
Yes, and you definitely have people's attention. So mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Elsewhere,
now it's up to the other two to actually see if they hear anything based on this.
Okay.
I think actually for this purpose, having a giant rifle with you is probably not the best. So I think I only have my last pistol just in case it becomes relevant.
Okay. Cool.
Otherwise, I am one with the crowd.
Yes. And what about Medea? Does she bring any weapons?
She does have her weapons, but they are, as they always have been, concealed.
Okay. Does she have any heavy
and
weaponry?
She brings him of another route.
Yes. Okay.
So they come in from different angles.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
And when she hears the commotion, she just looks up. And then she hears the bolter go off and look in the direction and goes, remind me to stay on her good side.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so basically you're becoming one with the crowd, and as I understand it, you're eavesdropping and being perceptive. Trying to.
All the perceptioneering.
Okay.
Yes.
All the perception.
Do you want the rolls for awareness?
Yes, I would very much like the rolls for awareness.
How do you
how's
do that
this-
when you have the skill so it would be 10 higher?
You can't just click the skill or something?
No,
Can't
you
click
can't
the
click the
skill.
skill. Oh, modifier,
Oh wait,
of
you
course.
can roll. AJ, it says roll if you click the number by the skill.
Cool.
So this would be awareness. I assume there are no bonuses.
No, but there are no penalties either, so.
Click the number. I can't make it do that. How do you do that?
Well, I would like to re-roll that one with my last fate
I imagine
point. I
so.
think.
Rasmus, AJ asks how you do that roly thingy with the thingy.
With
It
the
doesn't
skills?
react.
Well, does it highlight it when you put the mouse over the number below the
It
roll?
does the same as the shit it did when I weren't allowed to roll anything.
It might pop up eventually, but
I'm
Yeah,
just gonna do
no.
it with the modifier of 10.
Okay.
See what happens.
wow.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
it adds 10 to the roll, not 10 to what I can roll.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the where it says basic skills, and then you
Yeah,
have
I can
the
see
dot for-
awareness, perception, tick at 10, and then there's a roll and it lights up, but when I click it, nothing happens.
Oh, then I don't know, but I mean I failed clearly.
Yeah.
I'll try to re-roll, but it
Okay.
won't work.
Here's what I suggest you do. I suggest you do the old-fashioned way by /R space and then 1d100. And you know what you have to roll under.
I have to roll under 47.
82,
I didn't.
So that was okay.
Well, this roller doesn't like me.
No. Okay, so you move through the crowd and you position yourself as you find these preachers on various street corners. You move close to them and you try to see if there's anything in what they're saying that you can distinguish as
Also from the
as
crowd
noteworthy.
when they
Yeah.
see it, like,
Yeah.
oh, well, he's been here forever, kinda-ish.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give you
Using
one
that
more.
falls through.
One more roll because you're moving to different different preachers, so you can get another roll if you want.
Actually, I'm thinking that she's gonna try again, and if that fails, she will try inquiring about it.
Okay, cool. Okay,
So if it
So we can try
doesn't
again?
yield her any leads, she will try inquiring.
okay.
Indeed.
And Tim, did you want to roll again?
Yes.
Okay.
I would very much like to do that. Oh, I have a slight degree of success.
Wow!
You do succeed,
Wow.
but not with any degrees. Meanwhile, Medea, you succeed. later.
I have 47 I have to roll under.
Wow, that's decent
two,
results.
That's 2 whole degrees then.
Yes.
Fine. Almost 3, but
Almost
2
3,
whole.
but not quite. Okay. So you again you position yourself so you can hear the preachings, and one thing you notice is specific phrases. What were those phrases? hang on, I just need to find something. Okay, there. In amongst the preachings, you hear these preachers speak rather certain phrases, and they all do this, even though they don't preach the same thing. It's you have the impression that these preachers are parts of different cults. That is, they preach different aspects of the words.
The different aspects of the thing?
Yes, of.
I don't know what it's called.
The thing. Yes, let's just call it the thing. The Imperial.
Yeah. That one.
Faith.
Imperial Creed.
That thing.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you, John. But still, you hear the following phrases that they all mention, which are lost palaces, forgotten gods, and towers of bone.
Palaces. What else? Lost palaces.
Forgotten gods.
And towers of bone.
Ish.
That all sounds very sinister.
Yeah. Alright. Well, she hears that. And now she's very curious. So she is discreetly going to inquire about it.
Okay.
As in, she is one of the crowd they have caught.
Okay. And does she inquire with the preachers themselves, or with the others, with the other listeners?
The others that seem like they're actually listening.
Okay.
As in, ooh, I have heard this 1,000 times and I still like it, ish.
Okay. Okay.
That would be fellowship, and with my inquiry there's no pluses, but at least it's not half.
Nope.
Damn it.
And it should be said, Tim, that you hear the same, you hear those phrases as well.
Okie dokie.
I'm gonna try to reroll that because fuck this shit. Damn it!
Ow!
I hate it!
No. That's a 100.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Crap!
I don't think that should be green. That should be red.
Yeah. So, so you inquire. You basically ask questions.
Yeah,
And
I asked about it.
Unfortunately, the way you phrase those questions, people aren't receptive to them. They have no desire to answer your questions, and they just either ignore you or push you away, or otherwise let you know.
Yeah, go away, lady.
In no uncertain terms that they have no interest in talking to you.
Fucking mid-hivers.
It's like us in Swedes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Fucking mid-hivers.
Yes, you can dress the part, but Pat, you must have spoken too much like an underhiver for their taste.
Probably the reason.
And that is when you can hear the bells of the cathedral.
How does people react to that?
People look toward the cathedral. Some express curiosity. Others simply shrug it off. Yeah.
Well, is it calling?
Yeah, that was the thing.
What was
calling...
that? No, well, certainly Sister Francesca knows that this is an unusual.
There's no time. This is not a call for a regular scheduled prayer.
Nope.
Well, Medea would know them because Francesca keeps her to them.
True. Good point.
So it's not that time. At least she doesn't think it's that time.
Nope. And it's also rather insistent. Ding, 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 ding.
What is that all about? She just asks.
Who does she ask? Tim or some other?
Is someone she haven't tried asking before, like You know what's that about?
I don't know. It isn't prayer time.
Should we go look?
I don't know.
Who did she find?
I have to go
like
to work.
Every bear ever.
Work.
Work.
It's an orc peon. Oh God, no!
It can't be because they're not human and they will be killed on sight.
Yes, but he's still an orc peon.
Okay, so do you move toward the church or the cathedral?
Yeah.
And
I want to see what that's about.
Tim, do you move toward the cathedral as well?
Yes, I very much do. Sorry,
Okay.
I just had to unmute.
Oh, it's cool. And
I will blend in like a cuttlefish.
okay, please do so then, using your thingy.
What skill is that?
Well,
That is...
I have moved silently. Silent
Isn't
move.
it concealment?
no, concealment. I
concealment?
think is as I recall is
Stealth?
the
No. No,
I mean,
there
I
is
just
the-
have a talent. No, was it a trait, a talent, whichever, that says that people take a -20 to discern me. I guess that's not something you roll.
no. It
there
would
skill
be
for
something.
this?
It would be something they roll. Yeah, you can roll concealment because concealment is basically hiding.
This is gonna suck.
You don't have it?
I have not unlocked it now, so I guess it's half, which means
It's half
20.
your concealment, yeah.
half your
It's
agility.
half your agility.
Oh no, never mind. I somehow miraculously rolled what 0?
What?
I can't tell what I rolled. I think I rolled a 5 or something.
Yeah, you
Oh,
rolled
you're on a
really low
5.
at any rate. Okay, so you
Yes.
move toward the cathedral, both of you, and
The mighty cuttlefish approaches its prey. Though they're not really predators.
They are cute.
and yeah, and you move through the crowd without Tim. You're pretty sure that if anyone was watching you, they wouldn't find you, or was looking for you rather, they wouldn't find you. Okay, and Sister Francesca and Acolon, do you move toward the church as well?
I'm going again. I leave that at the discretion of my of Sister Francesca. I'm following her lead on this.
Francesca has not actually left that podium just yet.
Okay.
She observes, because it may very well be that someone from the cathedral is coming out.
Okay.
That they are ringing for to basically make people aware that, you know, important people are
Sure.
coming.
Okay, so
She's
Medea and Tim, you're the first to arrive at the cathedral. Francesca and Acolon, you can see the cathedral from where you are. But Medea and Tim, you are the first to arrive there, and there's this staircase leading up to the entrance to the cathedral itself, and people are just pouring out of the cathedral. Panic is definitely a thing among these people coming from the cathedral, and you see some of them have blood spatter on their clothes.
Medea lifts her brows and then she runs into the church. Something has gone down.
And that's where we'll end it for tonight.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun.
Oh, you do love cliffhangers, don't you?
I've learned from the best.
Yeah, that's it.
You do realize you do realize we now have to wait 2 weeks, right?
We have to wait 2 weeks, yes.
You do realize how much of a jerk you think I think you are right now, right?
I take no responsibility. I don't. I refuse to take any responsibility
Well, you
here.
should.
Damn.
Okay, I'll wrap this up.
I will just say one little thing to that. Just one little thing, because you know, I sort of feel like I have to, because you just said this is something I should take responsibility for. So there you go.
Have a look. No. Yep. Okay. Fair enough.
Yep. The Noctopus has made his return.
Yay.
And with that, dear audience, with this little GIF you also have on your screen, we'll say thank you for now. It's been a fun 4 hours, and
oh yeah.
we will see you again 2 weeks from now for another.
Get XP?
Well, you do get XP.
I'm not getting XP.
Well, that's okay. So you want XP? Okay.
Yay.
All of it.
All of it. Okay, you get 20,000 XP. There. That's
Wow.
all.
Yay!
No, you don't. You get. Let's say. So what happened today? You went to the church. You talked. You had visions. You talked. You trained. You talked. You then went on into the crowd. You perceived.
Executed a heretic.
You executed a heretic. Poor man.
There's nothing
Poor man.
There's nothing poor man about a heretic. He deserved what he got.
True. Well, I'll give you 150 for today.
Yay!
Yay!
And with that, dear audience, we'll see you next time for some more Hereticus. And until then, bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.